What is up, YouTube? It's me, HPJ. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing well because I wanted to have this conversation. I want to talk about this in a video, and I finally now get a chance to. So I have been basically playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for over 15 years now. Um, it's crazy though because around the time my channel began is when literally a lot of this stuff started happening. Where I started, focusing on Yu-Gi-Oh. Hold on, I want to turn on some music by the way, because I kind of need it because I'm completely stressed out from trying to record this video for so long. So my question that's been on my mind, and the reason why I'm discussing this video, using this video to discuss things, is because I've been having an epiphany about being a casual player in a competitive card game. And is it viably possible? Can you survive being a casual in a competitive game where it heavily relies on meta, understanding the meta, and everything? And you want my personal and honest opinion? No, I don't think a casual Yu-Gi-Oh player can really sustain the competitive or the meta scene of Yu-Gi-Oh itself, especially with how things have been going. I'm one of those people that firmly believe that anything is possible if you put a lot of heart and soul into it. And it's crazy because I say this while also taking a look back at 15 years ago, where I entered my first regionals back in 2011. And I remember this precisely because only about a week later did the Dragunity Legion deck come out in 2011, which was the first Dragunity structure that had been printed in the TCG. Those of you that got theirs literally months before. So now it was the TCG's turn to experience Dragunity. And the crazy thing about it, I look back at that time frame and I look at the current time frame. I know more about the competitive decks of 2011 than I do of any of the 2026 ones. I know more about the things that I did in 2020, in 2011 than I did having to deal with 2026. There's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to being a card game player, because you never want to feel like you're disappointing yourself, but you also don't want to feel like you're the butt of the joke, if you will. For me, it was a combination of both, where I wanted to be so accepted into the Yu-Gi-Oh scene and realized that I was kind of really just making things worse. Where, like I told you, I wanted to really just, you know, I tried so hard, but then it feels like at the end it didn't matter. And no matter how hard I worked, I just always felt like, well, I'm doing it right. Maybe it's not the deck, it's definitely me. And I remember everything, you know, in my ways of Yu-Gi-Oh. Working my best to be a casual player while also dealing with the competitive scene, while also just sticking it together. And I hate it. I hate it, because just the memories of things that happened back then. You know, I was with a group of friends, we made a team. The team dispersed because the team leader really just imploded. The team imploded on itself. And I hated it. And that's when I knew then I never wanted to do anything team related. Because I was basically part of the reason why being a casual player also, like, it's one of those things where you have your ups and downs. Can teams survive? Can your friendship survive Yu-Gi-Oh at that point too? Because I'll be honest, none of mine really did. And the ones that did, most of them don't even play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. So I look at things from standpoints and I say, damn, I really did a lot of this to put a lot of effort into, the scenes that I was in. I was a casual trying to be competitive with a deck that was far away from it. When I got really into the competitive scenes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was basically trying my best. A lot of times, locals were my best options. Outside of locals, I'm completely shit. In locals, I'm completely fine. I hadn't been at a locals in so many years, so I really don't know what local scenes look like. I was offered, I was even invited to a lot of local tournaments, especially the ones at my locals now, because they have a local event every Saturday. I think it's at 2. I'm not a morning person. I will just say that. And with how my schedule itself is, I like to take the weekends for myself. I don't like to really get up and do stuff. I was very shocked that, I can easily move my schedule around and do what I need to do on a Sunday, and then maybe just, have some fun on a Saturday, like most people. That's not me. And I really thought about it, and I really was thinking about it, and I said, you know what? You only really get to live once, why not enjoy it as best as you can? And I thought about it then. I said, you know what? I given so much time to be a competitive player that I really just lost myself in the process of it. And I think when things started really crashing down, it's when I said, okay, it's time for me to just go ahead and be a casual player. And for the most part, being a casual player was fine. You got to play the decks that you wanted to. You didn't have to focus on the meta. All you really had to worry about was dealing with a ban list and all the shenanigans that came out with it. But then I realized something new. One scene is nothing without its other. And while, yes, the competitive scene itself flourished because of casuals who did a lot of casual things, the competitive meta scene definitely influenced deck builders. The just in case scenarios. The what if I run into this? Those conclusions. And I remember saying to myself, and I remember thinking to myself, I forget when this was. I was just like, if I enter these regional events once again, never make the same mistake twice. I did. I made multiple mistakes. I learned from them. I grew from them. But ultimately realizing that at the end of the day, I was never meant for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not a competitive player. I'm not a meta player. I just enjoy playing cards. And it dawned on me at that point. It was like, well, can a casual player survive a competitive game? I guess you can. It depends on how strong-willed you are and how much of it can you really put the focus into. So when I look back at it myself, I put as much effort as it was given out to me. Given out to me. Never again. Never, ever, 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 ever again. It's so much. It really is. Like, honestly, with the amount of effort I put into Yu-Gi-Oh! For its competitive scene, I could have put into other things. Which is true. I got the receipts. But then also at a time, I was just like, you know what? It's kind of just pieces of things that you just let go. Like Digimon. I have not entered a Digimon event since BT23, the Cyber Eden, because I wanted stuff from Cyber Eden. Or was it Cyber Eden or was it Packers? No, it was the Cyber Eden. I remember now. It was Cyber Eden. But I didn't pull what I wanted. I wanted the Master One. I didn't pull the Master One. Or I think it was Hacker. No, it was Cyber. It was Cyber Eden. Yeah, I remember now because I didn't enter the one for the 24th. I remember hearing about it, and then I remember being asked if I wanted to participate. And I said no, because what ended up happening was my locals was late getting the boxes for it. And I said, well, no point in me going now because if we're going to have the event, it's going to be a waste of time. So at that point, so I know I entered the one for GT23. So I ended up getting the stuff for me right from that set. Well, just me right from that set, which is the only one I cared about. And then I think I did in the Cyber King, but I don't think I got anything I wanted. So I like when it was the Master Monitor, no one ever pulled it. I didn't pull it, and I said, all right, well, that's it. I'm done. And that was about it. That was the last time. I think that was maybe, was that November or October? That sounds like in October. Yeah, that at least sounds like in October. But even then, compared to the Digimon, just drank me. It's like I'm never doing this again. If I want the card, I'll just buy it. But I haven't bought Digimon cards in almost a year now. Because even the ones that I did want to go get, because I think the last thing I got was Amethyst Mandala, but that was a couple of months ago. And then prior to that, really, I think I really just didn't buy anything really much that I didn't already have. And I think at that point, I haven't really bought anything Digimon related since Amethyst Mandala, which was in December. And I saved up money to buy at least 2 structured items. Spent way more than I wanted to. Because if I had waited, I would have easily been able to get them at Target for $30. I spent 40 a piece. And it was funny though because someone said, wait a minute, you spent $40 on 2 structured items? Yeah, I did, because the advanced is a really different from it's a lot though that came to it, and I was just like, you know what, I'm good. You know, let's just say sorry, take that to the side. And I'm gonna focus on me. And you know, I know it's supposed to be more of a Yu-Gi-Oh video, but it does pertain to Yu-Gi-Oh because I remember every time when modern stuff came into Yu-Gi-Oh, I always tried my best to understand it. And then, unless I felt the need to want to play it and it was affordable, I didn't touch it. Which kind of tends to be most of the trend in most points anyway. So then up there, I say this in a way of not really knowing what else to really say, because when you think about it, it's like, damn, how did you get here? Also, it's like, damn, that's a lot of stuff to put on to yourself. And it was definitely a lot, you know, blood, sweat, tears, anguish, all of it. And I just remember saying, you know, yeah, it's a lot. I didn't want to really bore you guys with like sob stories and stuff. I just really just wanted to vent, if you will, and talk about this. I mean, I'll definitely try to visit at like another location or something. Yep. Okay guys, I'm going to start the video here because in a minute I'm going to fall asleep and then it's going to be some ugly snoring. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Any questions, yeah, the comment section is right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. HCJ signing out. Take care. Bye.